The funeral home of the late mother to Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa at Muhoroni Primary School in Mumias West constituency was this Sunday the meeting point to the ODM party and its flag bearer, Raila Odinga, and his allies. Odinga took to stage to oppose the move by the Kenya Kwanza government to impose more taxes to Kenyans, having in mind the economic tussle and the poor situation they bear.
Hawezi kusema ati atabagua Kakamega kwa sababu nyinyi mlipiga kura kwa Azimio, apeleke huko pande ya bonde la Ufa, azii huko pale mbana walipata kura. Hapana. Maana yake ushuru wanarogota kila mahali. Watu wa Kakamega wanatoa ushuru kila siku. Mama ameenda pale duka kununua chumvi, ametoa ushuru. Sukari, ametoa ushuru. Umekuja Coca-Cola, umetoa ushuru. Umenunua mkate, ushuru kubwa. Umenunua mafuta, umetoa ushuru.
In addition, Odinga stated that the implication of the high taxation will result to underdevelopment of the country if the promises made will not be met.
Siku bunge hapa chini. Siku mawaziri hapa chini. Nyingine iko pale juu, ama sivyo? Cooperation between the national and county government is a must. It is inside the constitution. You don't have to be told to cooperate.
However, some of the allied leaders who attended the function demanded respect from Deputy President Kiage Simba to their boss in his line of leadership.
Oh, tunalaumu Raila. Watu wa Mumias mnakubali haya? We want the president and your government to deliver on your promises.
Waache kulialia Uhuru alifanya hii, Raila alifanya hii. You are the people now who have the responsibility. Lakini mukikosa, kama mwanza kukosa namna hii, we cannot look back. Sisi tuko na chuma ile ya zamani.
With the drastic effect of the drought that has resulted to a hunger crisis and climate change in different areas in the country, the leaders requested the government to take consideration and support the affected areas.
Hatutaki kuongea sana because we have seen, I want to ask the governors in the affected areas wachukue msimamo. I would want them, if you really don't want to weaponize food distribution, invite ndugu Raila aje akaflag off chakula huko Garissa.
In the function, many have stated the good heart that Barasa's mom had. Even the man himself who invited his friends did not lack a word.
Na mimi kama gavana wenyu, mimi nitakuwa gavana wa kila mtu bila ubaguzi wowote.
Moses Okech, Lookuptv.
Let's move on. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has pledged to create employment opportunities for the Kenyan youth. Gachagua was speaking during the launch of the Kenya Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship Program by the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, in Nairobi. Kenya's youth unemployment currently stands at a historic 38%, with Kenyan institutions offloading an average of 800,000 youth into the labour market. Edwin John Mukora with that story.
With youth unemployment in Kenya at a historic high, unemployment at 38%, and approximately 800,000 youths getting into the job market each year, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has reaffirmed the Kenya Kwanza government's commitment to create more employment opportunities through promoting private sector partnerships to absorb more into the labor market. The Deputy President further says that for the economy to realize the importance of youth in the economy, there is need for many more youths to be included in the decision-making table in the corporate world.
So for our youths, work hard and stay focused. Stay focused. And you have people to hold your hands. I saw the young people speaking here. I felt good. They have hope. And they're asking, please don't give us handouts. Don't give us fish. Give us a net and show us how to use it. It's such a challenge to us, especially in the political class.
Gachagua, however, notes that even as the agenda to push youths into the labor market takes the center stage, Kenyans need to help the government in implementing its projects by paying taxes so as to realize the revenue for implementing some of the programs that will benefit the youths.
And we have discussed with KRA, and now we have reached a consensus. The president had a working lunch with them on Saturday, and we have agreed They will collect very aggressively 3 trillion. And we ask everybody to pay taxes. It's a responsibility. But we have asked them to create a dignified engagement with the taxpayers.
New Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has said that the Kenya Kwanza government has a space and a window for opportunities for youths pledging to find a long-term solution for the unemployment menace that has pushed majority to the wall.
For me, there are statements of faith, there are statements of trust, and that is what I call the window of opportunity. To mine and to harvest this faith, this trust that the young people have placed in this government.
KEPSA chairperson Flora Mutahi has highlighted the Alliance's efforts to create employment for the youths in the private sector, words that were echoed by the CEO Karo Kariuki, who underscored the importance of the Ajira program in creating more than 1.1 million jobs.
The promise of good education and a path to job creation, to job opportunities, grows dim for these people day by day. Therefore, a lot of them, we must say, and you saw it here, will be forced into into self-employment, if nothing else.
Now we want to move to the bigger counties, County Youth Innovation and Entrepreneurship Awards, Annual County Business Competitiveness. And this we hope to create at least 510,000 jobs. And these are just not numbers we are throwing out there. It's because we have real commitments.
Edwin John Mukora, Look Up Business.
I do promise that we shall be giving you that event in a snapshot right here today on our Look Up Business, because we do know there were a lot of important conversations that story by Edwin John Mukora did not really get to touch in detail. Now, the Kenya Internally Displaced Persons Organization, led by its chairperson, Peter Tena, now wants governors to ramp up relief programs in counties hard hit by drought to alleviate the continued suffering of millions of Kenyans, as well as expansion of disaster management kitties as part of mitigation measures against the drought menace, as Ian Kitani now reports.
With the statistics indicating that at least 4.1 million Kenyans are suffering from the effects of drought, and the government putting measures in place to mitigate the plague, the chairperson of the Internally Displaced Person, Peter Tena, is now urging county bosses in the South Rift regions to prioritize irrigation programs in high agricultural potential areas to help in fighting drought.
Magovernors hata nao wachangie sehemu fulani ya kusaidia national government kuweza kutenga rasilimali kadhaa ziweze kuwafikia mama wetu wapate kuweka mkate na chakula kwa meza.
Speaking in Nakuru County, Tena indicated that millions of Kenyans are undergoing untold suffering in the face of prevailing drought, and there's need for concerted efforts by humanitarian agencies and the government to help those affected, noting that among those worst hit by the drought are women and children.
Isizingatiwe tu ati kusemekana Northeastern. Hapana. Naivasha kuko na njaa. Na sehemu zile nyingine ziko na njaa. Na mkumbuke njaa ni mbaya kwa sababu wale wa mama wetu ambao kila saa wanabeba hawa watoto na wao ndio wanawapikia. Hiyo stress saa hizi tunapoongea, it is like a national disaster. Hiyo stress ya njaa inafanya mpaka watu wauane katika nyumba.
Among the 23 counties battling drought in the country, most of them being counties in the Rift Valley region, where at least 80% of the area residents depend on farming. Tena urged the government to fast-track the survey of large tracts of arable land and speed the vetting program of beneficiaries to pave way for the resettlement of respective allottees to embark on food production on the parcels of land.
Tuna uhakika watu wetu wakipatiwa mashamba mapema wataweza kuanzisha ukulima ambao president wetu amezingatia. Na hiyo ni kumaanisha kuwa hii njaa imekuwa ikitajwa katika taifa letu ilakuwa jambo la kusaurika.
This comes even as Uasin Gishu Deputy Governor Engineer John Barrott has assured the residents that the county government will directly distribute the subsidized fertilizer to farmers in the planting season to stop brokers from exploiting farmers.
We will provide fertilizer in the next season. And this is a conversation that we will be having now in the next couple of weeks to see how best to manage the subsidized fertilizer, so that we will be dealing with the farmer directly. And in the process, cut out any of the brokers in between.
Ian Kitani, Lookuptv.
Now, the Kenya Power and Lighting Company has been unrolling at the NSC for the past 2 months, even as the news of the mega investment of former Kiharu constituency member of parliament, Ndindi Nyoro, settles. Now, the rally has been further supported by the power providers of full year results for 2022 that saw it net a profit of 5.12 billion for the year ended June 30th. We now look at what has worked for the power utility that seems to be turning its fortunes around.
Friday's closing saw KPLC come in second with 2.6 million shares, traded only bettered by Safaricom that traded 5.3 million shares. Most analysts put this performance on KPLC full year result for the period ended June 30th that saw its net to 5.12 billion shillings in profit, a marginal drop from the Kenya shillings 8 billion recorded under the same period last year. The power utility that has heavily benefited from reforms under the former retired president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, put the result on 6.9% growth in sales, 1.5% improvement in system efficiency to 77.57%, as well as 4.6% reduction in operation costs on the back of the ongoing deployment of strategic cost management initiatives. Revenues from contracts, especially after the continued renegotiation with independent power producers, has experienced a healthy growth margin of Kenya shillings 47 million from last year 39 million shillings. This has underpinned the importance of the drive to have the power utility firm to procure power at reduced margins. Even as the firm saw an increase in revenue, basic electricity revenue, excluding foreign exchange surcharge and fuel recovery, recorded a decline of 0.27%. Kenya Power also continued to struggle with the effects of the Kenyan depreciation that saw a 40.2% increase in financial costs that further hits the profits by 37.5%. In 2021, the firm saw an 8.4% increase in electricity revenue, resulting from growth in electricity sales by 9.7 billion to 12.6 billion and a decrease in operating costs by 7.9 billion from 47 billion. Well, this was 39.86 million drop. In addition, finance costs went down by 3.4 billion from 12.4 billion the previous year, which was at 9.4 billion. Even as the Kenya Power rally continues at the NSC, the power utility firm still continues to declare no dividend, with Kenya Power shares still trading below the 2 shillings mark in last week's trading. For Look Up Business, Sandrine Mwenda.
Finally, a new report released by Trend Micro for the first half of 2022 shows that over 73% of key decision makers in the ICT sector are concerned about the growing attacks in the digital space. Lisa Maina with the full details.
According to the report, many information technology decision makers are concerned about the rapid digitalization, with 43% saying that the digital attack surface is skyrocketing out of control and that 7% describing it as constantly evolving and messy. Under the report, professionals also indicated that new malware tended to receive the lion's share of the spotlight, even as the first half of 2022 saw a significant resurgence of all favorite commodity malware and emotet. Despite its infrastructure being taken down in 2021, the report showed detections of the botnet increased from 13,811 in first half of 2021 to 148,701 in the first half of 2022. As the world comes to terms with the Russia-Ukraine crisis, the report shows the increase of cyber warfare by prominent groups that launch attacks on Ukrainian targets before and during the conflict with Russia, targeting individuals outside the conflict, capitalizing on curiosity and sympathy, and using that to request donations. According to a report from Interpol, online scams through text messages and email top the list of most prominent threats in Africa, with statistics indicating that for the first half of 2022, there were over 2.4 million blocked mails in the region. The report further advises developers to rely on the RAAS system as they can afford more time to evolve their applications on the platform, adding that already 2.5 million detections worldwide have been made through it, with Africa accounting for nearly 200,000. The report indicates that Linux systems attracts malicious actors looking to concentrate on servers and rooted systems. both areas where Linux is expected to see growth in the next few years. First half of 2022 saw a 75% increase in ransomware attacks targeting Linux machines. This emerging threat poses a threat as successful attacks might lead to significant damage. Lisa Minor, Lookup Business.
You gotta know, it's the basics of being secure online. To have a secure password. I know majority of people would have a password that is either their birthday, the year of birth, and that was also a report that was released by, I won't call them now because I'll be calling them in the studio so we can talk about that. The majority of your M-Pesa passwords are either the year or your date of birth. Not so good. Make it complex. Good. On that note, let's then cross over to how the markets opened this morning. Now remember, it's Tuesday and it's been almost 2 hours and 27 minutes of trading. Let's go back to how things ended yesterday. And I would like to start from where we were yesterday in as much as the gainers were concerned. And there's a big list here, especially when we're talking about the gainers, because we do have Nairobi Business Ventures now almost back to the 5 shilling mark. They're now at 3 shillings and 91 cents, and that's really big at a 9.83% change. Now remember, they did come back down on Monday when they closed in at around 3 shillings and 50 cents. Now that essentially put them in the top losers list, but it's a good thing that they're back up on it again. For me, I will talk about Nairobi Business Ventures. That's a point of concern. And Capture Tea, they're back at 115 shillings, representing 6.48% change then. And at NSC, by the way, when you see them go up, they're now at 7 shillings and 28 cents, at 5 shillings and 20, at 5.2% change. Then you will say that is exactly how they're opening today. Now let's move on to the next one. Again, we're looking for what is of importance. We're looking for the losers. And I will say, Scan Group, by the way, is back on this again at 9 shillings and 62 cents. That's the share price as of today in terms of opening. And they are at 9.67% change. That's on the negative. And then we do have BOC. They're back here again, 77. Oof. And that is 6.95, but not so much of a change, because I will tell you they might shoot back again. Now we do have Umeme at 7 shillings, representing 6.67% change on the negative. Umeme, quite a surprising one. It's an energy stock on this one as well. And Scan Group, it's a media stock, so not so much really of surprises here. And Monday almost gave us the same outlook again on the big losers list. On that note, let's cross over to what is the big movers and Safaricom. But you would look at it and then say, well, I think we're closing the year now. And for those of us who know, November is not a very good month for our local market, because that's when majority of international investors are on break. Was in November, it's not a very good month. Then you will see why Safaricom now is only doing 2.7 million shares as of close of day yesterday. And after that, we are back to 2 energy counters that have been giving us good news this week. We do have Kengen, which the National House is already working on a plan for it to start distributing power within the Kenyan economy so that they take the monopoly of KPLC. KPLC is back at it again, 496,200 shares, and we've already told you exactly what it is spurring curiosity by investors in this particular stock. KCB is at 369,800. So sort of showing you exactly where the market is. So once you have Safaricom all the way to KCB, marquee NSC at this point of the year. That's how they look. We take a short break. Once we come back, I'll be coming back to usher you into an event that happened yesterday. That's the CAPSA Youth Employment Program. And they're saying they want to employ 1 million youth in the next 5 years. Let's talk about that once we come back right here on Look at Business.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design, with branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa. Our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Leo kwa mara ya kwanza, mpenzi mtazamaji, tuko Githogoro Village ambapo mwanabiashara Carol anatekeleza kazi yake ya uzaji wa mawe.
Welcome back. Now, if you are already conversant with the new government, they're talking about employment. They're talking about the hustler narrative. Good. Let's put that into perspective. Yesterday, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, invited the Deputy President to the launch of what they're calling the Kenya Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship Accelerator Program, KYEP. Now, I'll tell you what that is. They plan to employ 1 million youth annually for the next 5 years. How they plan to do that? I'll tell you exactly what it is. It is accelerating activity in the private sector within the country. They did lay out a couple of interventions that they want to do within the next 5 years in this particular program. And they also did speak about other programs that we've actually seen work. That is the Ajira program as well. Let's go back then and watch this event as we hear about what KEPSA wants to do in the next 5 years within the Kenyan economy.
And guide me. I may have an opportunity to be an entrepreneur, I myself, but I don't have that training. Maybe I have that finance. My business will go to drain because I have no training. Yes, give me that training.
So I'm a teacher by profession, and during COVID. And I'm also a trustee. So during COVID, those both careers were dominant. We were doing nothing. You know, when your body is used to you are being used to being active all the time, and then all of a sudden you're not doing anything. You're just there. Your body can be like fatigued all the time and all those stuff. So I was going through my phone and I saw this portal. It's an eye-to-eye portal where job seekers with disabilities get to meet employers who want employees with disabilities. So I enter in the portal and I sign in with my disability ID card, and there was this company called Stepwise, and it highly encouraged persons with disability to apply. And it was all about data entry, so I applied. And next day I get a call. You can come to the High Court and do the work.
Opportunities are never lost, but they're always, and I repeat, always taken by people who are ready. If you are ready for it, trust you me, you will grab it and run with it. I equate it like it's like politics. If you're not ready for anything, trust you me, you won't even have that seat. So you must be ready always. So in future, I want first of all to take this opportunity to appreciate KEPSA for the program called Ajira. It's one of the programs that has had a bigger impact to the young people, me personally being part of the team. So that's really a thumb up, and I want to call the government to let's have more opportunities for the young people in terms of the gig economy.
10 years ago, or rather in 2010, I finished my undergraduate program, and I was looking for a job, just like many young people, and it took me 2.5 years. So I got this wonderful opportunity that had been on the newspaper. That was the Kenya Youth Empowerment Program by KEPSA. Then I applied, I got called in, and then at that point, that's when I realized I have to really be reliable, dependable, and look at this opportunity as a chance for me to change my life, and because I'd really struggled to get a job. So at that point, the program was 6 months long, very lengthy, and some aspects you don't like, but most of it, you knew the end goal was to get an opportunity. So I was very fortunate to be placed at a workplace. I got an internship, and then I knew I would not lose this opportunity, and I really worked very hard to prove my skills and to prove myself. And at that point, I got a full-time role, and I've not lacked a job since.
Schools generally lack the competence among their teachers to train emerging technologies. And yet, these are the careers that are going to be majorly responsible for the creation of the emerging careers beyond 2030. As the Swahili say, kidole kimoja hakivunji chawa. So there needs to be a concerted effort so as to avoid the scenario we had in the early 90s, where there was computerization and massive loss of jobs. So we need to join forces. The little effort I'm making is I'm approaching schools and I'm training their learners in emerging technologies.
And what I've discovered is that these young people, they were very energetic, they were easy to train, and we were able to train them, and especially on the area of digital. That's the first time we hired from the team, we hired our digital manager, who is also pushed by KEPSA, and he's here, Bonnie. He was our mentee. And it's very exciting that private sector to open up for the young people and to come to our offices and work with us. It gives them some kind of confidence. And maybe I take this opportunity because I have a mic to appeal to the entire private sector, including Lookuptv, that we can be able to take only one. We are about 1.7 million companies. So if you only take one, 1.7 million youth will have somewhere to go to in the morning and work and get experience. If we only get 10, only 10, for us Lookuptv, we take 30 every 3 months. 30, we just graduated cohort 17. And we're now taking another 30 for 3 months, and we train them. If all of us, we only take 10, we will give opportunity to 17 million youth. That means we shall import from Uganda, from Tanzania. And this is my humble appeal. For the government, the government can support the private sector, especially the 1.7 million formal companies, but more so 5.3 million informal companies by giving them a platform to do business. Maybe the government can say, if you have newly registered company and you're hiring 15 youth for 3 years, no tax. But after 3 years, provide your books so that we are able now to pay tax. That way, the 5.3 million business people who are hiding, they will come, they grow and become like Lookuptv. That way, we sort out the issue of unemployment with our youth. It is possible, it is doable. Happening at Lookuptv, it can happen to all the registered companies in Kenya.
We've taken all our learning since 2011 on the youth employment and expanded the strategy to a 5-year and developed an accelerator program, which is what you will be launching today. So we've taken every single learning over the years and as we target to deliver 1 million jobs every single year for the next 5 years. And you've heard commitment coming, and I think Kara will share with you the firm commitments that we've already gotten. So it will not only expand our economic activities through youth employment and entrepreneurship, but it will also effectively and efficiently deliver essential services to Kenyan youths as we assist in getting firm commitments from private sector and government. Our second priority area, of course, this morning is the drought that we are facing, and as we are undergoing, which to me looks like one of the most severe that we've ever experienced. And as part of our public-private partnership, we have begun a call to action that we are calling Pamoja Tuungane initiative that brings together the private sector, development partners, and other stakeholders to complement your government efforts towards the drought. It would be our utmost pleasure today to have you formally launch it and launch the call to action. But however, you'll probably wonder, have we been sitting back waiting for you? No, sir. We've actually been doing a lot. You have heard, I know we were with you on Friday at KAM. Our members will, and you'll get the list, have been doing what they can in their respective areas. But we want to give it that push. We want to give it a period of 1 year so that we do the immediate, we do the intermediate, what needs to change, so that Kenya stops finding itself in this situation over and over again. Good morning. In terms of some of the programs we've done, I won't go into the details, they are right there from the Kenya Youth Empowerment Program, but I'll stop there and say something on why we took the youth agenda. In 2007, when we had the elections and the disputed elections, and we had the post-election violence, when we sat down as the leadership of KEPSA then, we looked and said, how did it go so bad? And we realized one of the constituents that was very involved in the violence was the youth. And we said, as a responsible private sector, we cannot just wait for government to do everything about the youth. We have to take up the challenge. We have to play a role on the socio-economic agenda. And that's when we went out and said, who can we start working with? And we started working. World Bank was starting the Kazi kwa Vijana program. And we said, we're going to take one component. And if I may say so myself, it became the only component that was successful. And the rest were cancelled along the way. And so that gave us the encouragement to do more in the youth. That was the Kenya Youth Empowerment we implemented with the World Bank and the Ministry of the Youth then. And then we went on and started taking another one with the Danish, the business sector program support. And you can see the number of the jobs that were created in each of these programs that I won't go into the details of. We worked with the Ministry of Trade with that. Then we did Switch Africa Green with the UNDP. And then we started the Ajira program. The first pilot was with Rockefeller and the Ministry of ICT. And we realized we could create a lot of jobs. And that's when we said, can we expand the Ajira program? And over 1.9 million jobs has been created over the period that we have done the Ajira program. And it's about 2-3 years. And that's what has given us encouragement that if actually we combine all these things that we have learned in these different programs, we can do a bigger one and bring more partners and more commitments. We also did the e-commerce program with Trademark East Africa. And I think one of the youth mentioned, once we went into COVID, people couldn't go to work. And the challenge was work from home. And what were these young people going to do? And we thought, some of them were busy selling their produce, or services out there, and now they can't go. And we thought, can we help them use platforms, the e-commerce platforms? Many would use Twitter and Facebook, and we told them that's not e-commerce. There's actually e-commerce platforms where you can do your business. And so we did this, and we trained about over 2,600 SMEs. And a lot of these SMEs, of course, are young people, and 1,800 have increased their monthly sales by 40%. We'd like to do more of this kind of programs as we move into the tech world.
The reality is that a majority of our young people today are largely disillusioned, they're dispirited, and even disenchanted. I was looking at the statistics of the last elections, and the IEBC says of the 22.1 or so million Kenyans who registered to vote, 39.8% of those fell in this cohort of the youth. And the IBC goes on to note specifically that those figures represent a drop of 5.2% from the statistics of 2017, meaning that there is even a drop of passion and interest in the political space. And the reality is that our young people have reason to be disillusioned, to be disenchanted. Because when you look at the realities of employment, for instance, we release 800,000 graduates into the labor market every year. Of these 800,000 young people, the formal employment space only takes 20%, which leaves 80% of this to the informal sector. And so we have an incredibly high rate of unemployment and underemployment. And we begin to understand why these young people become disenchanted. But the truth and the saving grace is that this particular government, the government of Kenya Kwanza, has a window of opportunity. And the window of opportunity is that these young people have faith in this government. In fact, when you look at the statistics again, and go back to the statistics of the last elections, the Kenya Kwanza government is a government largely elected by young people. And repeatedly, even as we did our polling, we could not fail to pick out the reality, the fact that the largest portion of our support base was the youth of Kenya. And so they have faith in a president they love to call the chief hustler because of feeling a connection too. And they have a lot of passion for a deputy president they have christened Rigiji. These are not just names that our young people have ascribed to their president and their deputy president. For me, they are statements of faith. They are statements of trust. And that is what I call the window of opportunity. To mine and to harvest this faith, this trust that the young people have placed in this government. I have the privilege of having been given the responsibility by His Excellency the President and the Deputy President to manage the corner of government that has been characterized as the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts. And I want to tell of the President and the Deputy President here to help manage the affairs of young people, not outside the box, but entirely without the box, completely without the box. His Excellency the Deputy President was reminding me just a moment ago, you have to do it completely differently. And I'll do it, sir. Completely differently, because that is what our young people expect. They expect a completely different mindset and a completely different approach. I was listening very keenly as the panel of young people here spoke to us. And I was particularly struck by the words of Beatrice. A young lady told us she's from Kibra, and her concluding remarks, Beatrice tells us, they do not want tokenism. They don't want handouts. They don't want parochial approaches. They want substance. They want sustainability. They want continuity And that is why I have so much faith with the program we are launching here today. Going beyond the parochial, going beyond tokenism. So when you heard His Excellency the President say, no kazi mtaani, it is about moving away from tokenism and moving towards substance and sustainability. The President said these words incidentally while launching the affordable housing program in Kibra, where Beatrice lives. And I know that we will indeed replace tokenism with substance and sustainability. Because if you're talking sustainable programs, you're thinking if you have an affordable housing program, it is not just about young people doing ile kazi ya mkono, but you're saying if there's going to be physical planning, then we want young physical planners to be on the table. If you have the work of architectural designs of the whole program, you want young architects at the table. You want young plumbers, electricians, and young people with technical skills to be part of this program. That is moving beyond tokenism. And so I want to commit that this ministry, in the overall architecture of government, will be available to work with KEPSA.
Youth unemployment in Kenya is estimated at 38.9%, with an estimated 1 million young people getting into the labor market every year from our academic institutions. However, the economy has not matched the supply in generation of new jobs. Experts have warned us of the youth time bomb occasioned by the jobless youth bulge. In fact, 75% of Kenya's population is below the age of 35 years. This population is a big blessing to this nation. We must plan well and invest in our youth to reap our demographic dividend ahead of Kenya's Vision 2030 and Africa Union's Agenda 2063. We note with appreciation that the Kenya Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship Program is an innovative and comprehensive job creation initiative with an overall goal of creating 1 million employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for youth in Kenya. Moreover, this initiative seeks to unlock the potential of small and medium enterprises through tailored support services that allow them to grow and create jobs for the young people. I'm informed that this program will leverage technology and digital transformation. This is by scaling the businesses through catalytic interventions like promotion of business processes, outsourcing as a way of enhancing efficiency, by digitalization of services to accelerate access to markets regionally and globally. We keenly play into ensuing digital evolution across the world. Kenya cannot afford to be left behind, since we have one of the fastest internet connectivity and penetration in Africa. What we do with the internet connectivity will make the difference. What we do with the penetration will make the difference and convert this resource to grab and rule the international market. But we must also have cutting-edge products and services. This is why we are also emphasizing market-oriented, demand-driven skills. I urge KEPSA to closely work with the TVET institutions to bridge the gap between training and industry. As I conclude, the Kenya Kwanza government is committed to reducing bureaucracies, to reduce the cost of production, and doing businesses online and offline. This is because we understand the importance of a friendly business environment for upcoming and established expenditure of 9,000 per family. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I'm very happy to be here. And we have come here early, and I'm ready to come here at 5 a.m. if we are discussing opportunities for our young people. I must do full disclosure. From a purely selfish perspective, President William Ruto and I owe tons of gratitude to our young people who overwhelmingly voted us into office. Lazima turudishe mkono. We want to be honest. We owe these young people some interventions of one kind or another. Many people have asked me how they can become friends of President William Ruto. I want to share with you the strategy. If you want to become a friend of President William Ruto, create 5 jobs for our young people and you'll be his friend. Create opportunities for our young people, you'll be his buddy. I feel good that an occasion has been set aside and prepared to discuss the future of our young population. They are the future of this nation, and we are genuine when we say so. President William Ruto, I, and all of you here, we are not getting any younger. And let us not pretend that we are getting younger. Time is going. We must prepare succession management in governance, in entrepreneurship, in business. We must prepare to hand over essentially along the way. I know many people don't like that topic, but it's the truth. And when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We want a situation where in your boards of directors, you have 2-3 characters below the age of 35. So that when decisions are being made about the company, and you are saying that the youth are important, they are part of the decision-making process. We want our young people to be on the decision-making table. Next year, we'll be hosting the Youth Connect Summit. And we'll bring 10,000 youths from the whole of the African continent to come and interact with our young people here, to share ideas on intellectual property rights, on the tech industry, on their role in governance. Our young people have told them they cannot sit at home and wait for anybody to come for them and tell them that they are the leaders for tomorrow. Nobody will come from you at home. You must get out and take your rightful place in the development of this country, in public governance, in private enterprise. So I want to tell KEPSA and your leadership, you are our very serious partner. And with this youth agenda you have here, you are our friends. And I want to confirm, CEO, President William Ruto is ready any day for the roundtable conference. Any day. Especially if agenda number 1 is youth and their employment and business opportunities. Tomorrow, the day after, at night, over the weekend, President William Ruto is ready and available. And I've said many times, and many people think I'm joking, the President and I, we have no children we are bringing up. We are not looking for wealth. We are just available to serve 24/7. 24/7. That is why the President has given a policy direction about time management. He has told us anybody who keeps business people waiting will meet his wrath. Because you are here over 150 people. If we waste your time here 30 minutes, 1 hour, the loss to the economy is unquantifiable.